Jai Guruji, Shukrana Guruji. We are here to continue our journey on Autobiography of a Yogi. And so far, we have already covered till chapter number 27. And the last chapter, we did learn about, a beautiful story that, founding a yoga school in Ranchi and the various other facets which were presented in that chapter. And today we are going to proceed to a very simple but an impactful chapter about how you can connect with the cosmic divine and how you can, basically know that, what are things which are happening beyond death. This book is a revelation of many sorts, and it's a journey wherein it forces or compels or motivates you to look beyond the ordinary and start looking into things which are not visible to the human eye. And when you close your eyes, that's when you actually activate your consciousness to see something which is beyond your imagination. And that's what actually Kriya Yoga is all about. And if you correlate this to the same way how, Guruji also said that, when you connect with me, it's like I have, given you the power, to think unimaginable things. And, these are the miracles or coincidence that actually happens when you start visiting, when Guruji starts calling you to satsangs, when you start sitting in his divine nature and you start seeing things and miracles and start smelling Guruji's fragrances, start seeing those little butterflies, the lovebirds and peacocks, and all these things actually are a measure or a way of Guruji's love, his extended way of visiting you in your own home and making sure that you are well protected, you are guided by his divine presence. These are the things that actually Guruji, wants to show us all the time. And as you can see here that he's smiling eternally at us. He's making sure that we are feeling secured, protected, and we are thinking that we are never really alone. We are in the right cosmic balance. We are in the right frame of mind to for example, read this book. For example, know why Guruji told to read this book. Yeah, the same book is in Hindi. It's called Yogi Kathamrit, and in English it's Autobiography of a Yogi. And this book, again, to reculminate what it was, and it has been written it has been rated as the 100 most important spiritual books of the 20th century. And this book has been basically translated in over 70 languages, and it is so important that we understand that this book has got the power of not just changing yourself, because there's a beautiful paragraph written at the end. Autobiography of a Yogi is an introduction to the methods of attaining God realization and emphasizes the value of Kriya Yoga and a life of self-respect, calmness, determination, simple diet, and regular exercise. It has been in print for the last 70 years and has been translated into over 40 languages. I'm sorry about the previous thing. It has been it has been acclaimed as a spiritual classic and is designated as one of the 100 most important spiritual books of the 20th century. So now you can imagine the power of this book. Okay, the people who got enlightened, the people who got advanced stages through this book, they were able to relate that to their own journey, be it spiritual or non-spiritual. They were able to understand that this is indeed a practical book, exactly how Guruji has mentioned things to us, that he is a practical guru. He wants us to live our life. He wants us to continue our journey without discarding anything, without ignoring, abandoning your family. You can still be a saint. So I think these are the things which are most important to carry forward, or key takeaways in this book. And chapter number 28, before we begin, Om Namah Shivaya, Shivji Sada Sahai, Om Namah Shivaya, Guruji Sada Sahai. ये बोलते हुए chapter number 28, Kashi Reborn and Rediscovered. It is a very simple and a short story that talks about what's really important and what are we really looking for, and how miracles happen in and around us. And it's about reborn. It's about how somebody is reborn, and Yogananda Ji is able to see through it. And there are various parts of it which are mentioned in different dimensions. So let's begin. Please do not go into the water. Let us bathe by dipping our buckets. This Yogananda is telling to a group of students that he had found in Ranchi. I was addressing the young Ranchi students who were accompanying me on an 8-mile hike to a neighboring hill. The pond before us was inviting, but a distaste for it had arisen in my mind. The group around me followed my example by dipping buckets, but a few lads yielded to the temptation of the cool waters. No sooner had they dived than large water snakes wiggled around them. The boys came out of the pond with comical alacrity. We enjoyed a picnic lunch after we reached our destination. I sat under a tree surrounded by a group of students. Finding me in an inspirational mood, they plied with me with questions. Please tell me, sir, one youth inquired, if I shall always stay with you in the path of renunciation. Ah, no, I replied. You will be forcibly taken away to your home and later you will marry. Incredulous, he made a vehement protest. Only if I am dead can I be carried home. But in a few months, his parents arrived to take him away in spite of his tearful resistance. Some years later, he did marry. After answering many questions, I was addressed by a lad named Kashi. He was about 12 years old, a brilliant student, and beloved by all. Sir, he said, what will be my fate? You shall soon be dead. The reply came from my lips with an irresistible force. This unexpected disclosure shocked and grieved me as well as everyone around present. Silently rebuking myself as an infant terrible, I refused to answer further questions. On our return to the school, Kashi came to my room. If I die, will you find me when I am reborn and bring me again to the path of again to the spiritual path? He sobbed. I felt constrained to refuse this difficult occult responsibility. But for weeks afterward, Kashi pressed me doggedly. Seeing him unnerved to the breaking point, I finally consoled him. Yes, I promised. If the Heavenly Father lends his aid, I will try to find you. So here there are a couple of pictures of Kashi, and of course this is a picture wherein our Yogananda Ji is there with a few other disciples and his father, and of course there is a 1920 International Congress of Religious Liberals at Boston, wherein Yogananda Ji had given his maiden speech in America, and his colleagues are shown in these pictures. Yeah, these pictures are located on 272 and 273 pages. During the summer vacation, I started on a short trip. Regretting I could not take Kashi with me, I called him to my room before leaving and carefully instructed him to remain against all persuasion in the spiritual vibrations of the school. Somehow I felt that he did not go home, that if he did not go home, he might avoid the impending calamity. No sooner had I left, Kashi's father arrived in Ranchi. For 15 days, he tried to break the will of his son, explaining that if Kashi would go to Calcutta only for 4 days to see his mother, he could then return. Kashi persistently refused. The father finally said he would take the boy away with the help of the police. The threat disturbed Kashi, who was unwilling to be the cause of any unfavorable publicity to the school. He saw no choice but to go. I returned to Ranchi a few days later. When I heard how Kashi had been removed, I entrained at once for Calcutta. There I engaged a horse cab. Very strangely, as the vehicle passed beyond the Howrah Bridge over the Ganges, I beheld Kashi's father and other relatives in mourning clothes. Shouting to my driver to stop, I rushed out and glared at the unfortunate father. Mr. Murderer, I cried somewhat unreasonably, you have killed my boy. The father had already realized the wrong he had done in forcibly bringing Kashi to Calcutta. During that few days the boy had been there, he had eaten contaminated food and contracted cholera and passed on. My love for Kashi and the pledge to find him after death night and day haunted me. No matter where I went, his face loomed up before me. I began a memorable search for him even as long as I had searched for my lost mother. I felt that inasmuch as God had given me the faculty of reason, I must utilize it and tax my powers to the utmost in order to discover the subtle laws by which I could know. the boy's astral whereabouts. Yeah. He was a soul vibrating with unfulfilled desires, I realized. A mass of light floating somewhere amidst millions of luminous souls in the astral regions. How was I to tune in with him among so many vibrating lights of other souls? Using a secret yoga technique, I broadcasted my love to Kashi's soul through the microphone of the spiritual eye, the inner point between the eyebrows here. With the antenna of upraised hands and fingers, I often turned myself round and round, trying to locate the direction in which he had been reborn as an embryo. I hoped to receive response from him in the concentration tuned radio of my heart. I intuitively felt that Kashi would soon return to the earth, and that if I kept in unceasingly broadcasting my call to him, his soul would reply. I knew that the slightest impulse sent by Kashi would be felt in my fingers, hands, arms, spines, and nerves. With undiminished zeal, I practiced the yoga method steadily for about 6 months after Kashi's death. Walking with a few friends one morning in the crowded Bow Bazaar section of Calcutta, I lifted my hands in the usual manner. For the first time, there was response. I thrilled to detect electrical impulses trickling down my fingers and palms. These currents translated themselves into one overpowering thought from a deep recess of my consciousness. I am Kashi, come to me. The thought became almost audible as I concentrated on my heart radio. In the characteristic, slightly hoarse whisper of Kashi, I heard his summons again and again. I seized the arm of one of my companions, Prokosh Da, and smiled at him joyfully. It looks as though I have located Kashi. I began to turn round and round to the undisguised amusement of my friends and then passing throng. The electrical impulses tingled through my fingers only when I faced toward a nearby path, aptly named Serpentine Lane. The astral currents disappeared when I turned in other directions. Ah, I explained, Kashi's soul must be living in the womb of some mother whose home is in this lane. My companions and I approached closer to Serpentine Lane. The vibrations in my upraised hands grew stronger, more pronounced. As if by a magnet, I was pulled toward the right side of the road. Reaching the entrance of a certain house, I was astounded to find myself transfixed. I knocked at the door in a state of intense excitement, holding my very breath. I felt that the successful end had come for my long, arduous, and certainly unusual quest. The door was opened by a servant who told me her master was at home. He descended the stairway from the second floor and smiled at me inquiringly. I hardly knew how to frame my question at once pertinent and impertinent. Please tell me, sir, if you and your wife have been expecting a child for about 6 months. Yes, it is so. See that, seeing that I was a Swami, a renunciate attired in the traditional orange cloth, he added politely, pray inform me, how do you know my affairs? When he heard about Kashi and the promise I had given, the astonished man believed my story. A male child of fair complexion will be born to you, I told him. He will have a broad face and a cow uh, lick atop his forehead. His disposition will be notably spiritual. I felt certain that the coming child would bear the resemblances to Kashi. Later, I visited the child whose parents had given him his old name of Kashi. Even in infancy, he was strikingly similar to the appearance to my dear Ranchi student. The child showed me an instantaneous affection. The attraction of the past awoke with redoubled intensity. Years later, the teenage boy wrote to me during my stay in America. He explained his deep longing to follow the path of a renunciate. I directed him to a Himalayan master who to this day guides the reborn Kashi. This is a very beautiful chapter of how, people who leave us, they do not really go. They are reborn into another form. We as mortals may not be able to know this, but we have to believe the thing that the cycle of life and death is something that is defined by the cosmic beloved and uh, our director, that is, God. He himself defines how the cycle of life and death continue. What do we do in this lifetime? What is our karma? How do we get rid of this karma? And how do we basically uh, connect and combine our forces, so our all our five senses, so that we devotedly think about our God, or how do we realize ourselves through our own self, that how we want to connect with Guruji. Okay, and this is where the power of a guru comes into play. We don't decide to which guru we want to choose, or we don't decide when we want to join Guruji. Guruji decides when which person becomes a sangat. So we are truly blessed and lucky, and miraculously, we are so immensely blessed that we are able to understand that, once Guruji decided that we are going to be in his Sharan, all we need to do is keep coming to the same, keep going to Darbar, keep doing Sewa, Satsang, Simran, keep following, no ABC, no abuse, no blame, no criticize, no gossip, no Ninda Chugli. I mean, these are the things that Guruji said, that if you're doing it, then you are losing your blessings. During satsang, if you're using phones, then you are basically giving away your blessings. And you're attracting the other person's negativity. So, try and imagine a life which is full of roses, which is having no thorns on it. That's not the life of a Sangat. You have been chosen as Guruji's Sangat so that you have to go through certain obstacles in your life, but 90% of that Guruji has already taken care. It's only the 10% that we need to bear, and sometimes even that 10% also does not seem like 10%. So I think, having said that, I would like to say that we are all truly blessed that Guruji chose us to go through this book, and we today completed chapter number 28, and it is indeed one of the achievements, that as we progress in the journey of this book, we are able to understand why Guruji himself told that, it is one of the books that you should certainly read, you should certainly talk about it. And if you go to any internet forum, and you can see this book has been read not just by celebrities, saints, or monks, or common human beings. These have been read by people who actually wanted to connect with the spiritual divine. And these are the things that we should imbibe, the positivity part of it, and start learning things slowly, start absorbing the energy of this book. And this is the way our life will slowly transform. Slowly you'll realize that you're no longer talking anything negative. You're no longer becoming that part of the society who actually giggles and talks sarcastically. So I think these are the powers of the book which come into you naturally. And as Guruji always says, apna bhanda khud saaf karo. That means always make sure that you are working on your karma, you are making sure that you are doing good to people. If you are getting seva at some point, in anybody inviting you for a darbar, and Guruji decides that you want to do some kind of seva, let's say cleaning the shoes, jutiyon ki seva. The moment you get into that seva mode, and you say that, Guruji, I don't want anything in return, that's it. Then you will realize that Guruji is eternally smiling at you. And these are the things which we are required to learn. These are the things that we are required to imbibe. Seva with no expectation. These are continuously told in any shabads. And if you again find the sources on internet, you can see that the purpose of seva is to do it selflessly, without any expectation. The way that you should do seva in any darbar where you are invited to by Guruji, then you should say that, this is the way that I would take care of my own house. I would take care of, as if I'm living here. So I think that's the way how Guruji always wanted people who do seva with, they should do seva with absolute shraddha, dedication, devotion, love. So having said that, I'd like to end today's narration, and it's been a pleasant journey so far. And it is really important that we continue our journey. Do not give up. Do not think that Guruji is not watching you, monitoring you. He is watching you through and through. And you can see that when I am talking to you through this narration, I am myself feeling the positive vibes of it. So it is Guruji himself who is talking through, and Guruji always says that Jathe mera swarup uthe main. So in Guruji's divine presence, we are actually completing the narration of this book. Jai Guruji, Shukrana Guruji, keep smiling.